The Olympics is officially over, and the Avs brought home 6 medals, including 3 silvers, 2 bronzes, and the 1 gold. Celebrate, enjoy it, especially if you're the US, or maybe hate it if you're Canada. Fair enough. But things move on towards a Stanley Cup now for the Avs players. And the question is, can success at the Olympics be translated to playoff success, especially for someone like Marty Necas? Necas has I don't know if it's totally fair, but it follows him around that he hasn't had playoff success. Can this be the stepping stone for him to finally figure it out in the big games?
Yes, is the short answer to this. Long answer being competence is a huge thing for a player like Martin Necas, and something that's been paraded around recently in talking with guys as practice starts to ramp back up is that's not really anything Martin Necas is short of. When you look at what he's been able to create in an Avs sweater, the chances, the way he moves the puck, it's no doubt that he is a stellar player and can play with a lot of that confidence. But being able to go into this Olympics saying like, all I need to do is produce for my team, and then became the best player on his team, I think is a huge boost to an already booming amount of confidence for a guy like Martin Necas. And if that's the mindset that he's going into this kind of last stretch of home or regular season games with, and that can boost him into the playoffs, like that's only gonna help a situation. Sometimes players like him need a bit of an ego boost, and I feel like this Olympics was exactly that for a guy like Martin Necas.
I think there's something to be said about going toe to toe with the best of your fields and landing real blows. I mean, the way he was able to carry that team was really significant. And I think Bailey kind of hit the nail right on the head. So I'm going to try not to be too repetitive with what she said. But I do think just from your inner perspective, getting to go out and perform that, I just think it kind of raises the expectation for yourself internally of like what I think I'm capable of doing. And also gives you kind of the desire to do it again, right? Like it's almost like trying to get into shape the first time you finally get that weight up. Well, now I want to be able to do it some more. And I just feel like he kind of had a real breakthrough in the way that he was able to carry his team.
He just finishes the tournament with 8 points, despite not playing in the extra games of a medal. Top 5 in the tournament for point totals. Truly about as good as he could have possibly played, given the state of the tournament and the balance of the teams that were in it. So,
was that surprising to you, Rudo?
That it was that good? A little bit, yeah. I was not expecting Necas to quite hit that level. I was hoping for a very good tournament from him, but I expected him to fall in line behind a David Pastrnak and maybe be that second guy on that team. And that's not what happened at all. He was absolutely their number one guy in a way that, frankly, I don't think he's ever been in his career. And, he's going to go back to playing with Nathan MacKinnon. He doesn't have to be the number one guy, but showing that he has the ability to do that, I do feel more comfortable. If you're in a playoff game and maybe Nathan MacKinnon isn't having his best, you can lean on Necas a little bit. You can maybe trust him to get the job done.
No, that's absolutely the name of the game. And that's how Martin Necas should be looking at this next stretch of games too, and saying like, yes, maybe on paper I'm second string to Nathan MacKinnon, but that's not necessarily what that has to be.
Yep.
And looking at this, it just makes me even more excited to see exactly what they're capable of coming out of the break. And knowing that if Martin Necas is able to produce numbers like that for himself and being able to propel his team to where they got in this tournament, yes, obviously falling short sucks. Would I have loved to have seen them in potentially a bronze medal game? Absolutely. But ultimately, like this again, just makes me even more excited for what exactly his capabilities are when you see him paired next to a Nathan MacKinnon, especially when you consider, we don't know what version of Nathan MacKinnon we're going to get back after the break. Is he sick? Is he dealing with some sort of injury? Are we going to get a well-rested Nathan MacKinnon who maybe sits out for the first game back in the regular season? Like that just makes it, I don't know, I can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, I think, knowing that regardless of what version of Nathan MacKinnon we're getting, we've got that version of Martin Necas coming out of the break. Not to say he wasn't good before the break. Obviously, he was
No, of
injured
course.
dealing with things beforehand too, but there's something to be said about that little ego boost for him coming out of things.
And like even beyond the production, which is obviously great, you have the statistical proof of concept. He passed the eye test, right? Like the way in that elimination game, he was able to kind of bring some FU and be willing to punch back and really had some quality opportunities to score late on Canada.
Yep.
It was really reassuring, I think, for the type of player he can be when it really matters.
Mm-hmm.
So let's flip the script a little bit then. For Necas, it's Olympic success that can hopefully translate to playoff success. For Canada, for MacKinnon, Makar, and probably to a lesser extent Devon Toews, is a silver medal loss the burning fire that is going to take the Avs to the next level in the playoffs this year?
Again, I think there's this hunger type aspect that can be drawn when it comes to comparisons very loosely to the way that they came into this season. And that's from a team perspective too. You're talking about three guys, and not just any three guys on the team too, arguably three of the most important guys on this team. You're talking about Nathan MacKinnon, who's pacing the top of the league when it comes to points. You're talking about Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, and then Devon Toews, who we saw this team kind of fall apart without over this last month.
It's true.
So I think when, especially for Devon Toews and how he looked in that last game, I'd hope there's some sort of hunger there for him to be like, this is not how things are normally for me. Like, I don't normally give up. I'm not normally directly responsible for goals like that. I'm not normally maybe whiffing on some of those shots or getting it. Like, I'm able to put on better shots that maybe aren't as easily blocked by goalie sticks or whatever it might be. And going into this next stretch of the season, like, I've got something to prove here a little bit. Now, Nathan MacKinnon, same thing, but for different reasons. We're talking about a guy who really is driven on team success, a guy who really devotes himself to making sure not only maybe he's performing at the level he needs to, but performing that way so he can get his team to where it needs to be. And he was not saying that he wasn't successful feels wrong because they're still taking some hardware home. A silver medal with some of the competition that existed in this tournament is not a slouch thing to come away with. But it's not gold. And that's likely the only thing sitting in a guy like Nathan MacKinnon's mind. And so I'd like to think there's some sort of hunger there from that aspect from both MacKinnon and Makar, and saying, like, that's the one hump we weren't able to get over. How can it, like, we just have to be better to make sure that doesn't happen to us come April, May, June.
I mean, we all know what happened in Dallas, so that fire should have been already region, and I think based on the way the team started the season, it has been. I'll ask you this though, Rudo. What do you think things worse for those guys coming up short last year in Game 7, losing the way they did so dramatically to Mikko, to a team you despise, or coming up short for your country?
I think it's coming up short here, not necessarily that it's a bigger stage, but because losing in round 1 of the playoffs would be like losing in the quarterfinals of the Olympics. Had Canada lost to Czechia, I think that would be comparable to the Dallas loss. Losing in the gold medal match, it hits a little bit harder, right? You were that close to winning. And MacKinnon doesn't really know that type of loss very well. When he's gotten to the finals of whether it be Canadian juniors, whether it be the Four Nations, whether it be the Stanley Cup, the one trip to the finals, he won. He's used to claiming that championship when he gets to that final spot. And I do think there's a famous phrase out there about athletes where it's like, hey, look, everybody loves to win, but if you want to be successful, you need to hate to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a lot of people that hate to lose as much as Nathan MacKinnon hates to lose.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So I think we might be about to see something special from Nathan MacKinnon once he recuperates from whatever this trip was for him.
I was going to say, if they're already dealing still, there's still that residual hunger from, what they dealt with last season, fueling them at the beginning of the season. I imagine this is just pouring gasoline on the flame for guys like Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, and Devon Toews.
You think that teddy bear still had a head on it?
No chance.
Not at all. I don't think the head is the only thing missing. I would be surprised if that thing's not torn to smithereens by now.
Not much.
I just
left.
love the juxtaposition of that. Here's your medal. Here's your teddy bear. It's okay, buddy.
They call him a dog. If he's anything like my dogs, yeah, there's not much left of that stuffed animal. That's for sure.
R.I.P.
Yeah. We'll leave it there. Let us know what you think is coming for the Avs based on this Olympics. Do you think success is on the horizon, or are we going to see more failure? If you really like us, consider subscribing and check out our full podcast. We do an hour 5 days a week. We appreciate all y'all, and we'll see you in the next video with the trade deadline coming up. Be prepared for a lot. This has been the DNVR Avalanche mini pod.
We all silly like the mayor.